Hello and welcome to English Literature CBSE Class 10 First Flight Poem number 9. Today's poem is The Tale of Custard the Dragon by Frederick Ogden Nash. Before reading any work, it is very important to know about the creator. So let us read about the poet Frederick Ogden Nash. He was an American poet well known for his light verse, of which he wrote more than 500 pieces. He wrote over 400 pieces of comic verse. The best of his work was published in 14 volumes between 1931 and 1972. So his best work was published in 14 volumes. With his unconventional rhyming schemes, he was declared by the New York Times to be the country's best known producer of humorous poetry. He was born on 19th August 1902 in New York, United States. So he was born on 19th August 1902 in Rye, New York, United States. He died on 19th of May 1971 in the Johns Hopkins. Some of his famous works are The Best of Ogden Nash, The Pocket Book of Ogden Nash, Les Adventures d'Isabelle, I'm a Stranger Here Myself, Line Up for Yesterday. Among many other works, these are some of his famous works. Frederick Ogden Nash. It's time for the introduction to the text, to the poem. The Tale of Custard the Dragon is a poem for children written by Ogden Nash. A picture book of the 1936 poem with illustrations by Len M. Munsinger was published in the year 1995. The poem has been described as probably his most famous poem for kids. This poem introduces a little girl, Belinda, and her boastful pets, a brave kitten, a courageous mouse, and a valiant dog, who, along with the titular timid dragon Custard, lived in a white house. When a pirate attacks, the brave pets flee, leaving Custard to surprisingly fight and defeat the intruder, revealing the cowardice of the others and the hidden bravery of the dragon. So in the poem, in the 1936 poem that was illustrated in a picture book in the year 1995, is probably the most famous poem. It's a humorous poem, and in the poem we have Belinda, who has pets, a kitten, courage, a mouse, and a dog, who all claim to be brave, and a Custard, a dragon, who says he is weak. But when a pirate enters, we find that all the so-called brave pets, they run away, and Custard, surprisingly the coward who's portrayed, fights with the pirate and defeats the intruder, revealing cowardice as the others and the hidden bravery of the dragon. Let's see the theme or the central idea of the poem. The primary theme in the tale of Custard the Dragon is that true courage comes from unexpected places and that appearances can be deceiving. So true courage comes from unexpected places and that appearances can be deceiving. The poem highlights how the initially timid Custard, the dragon, unexpectedly shows bravery by saving his friends from a pirate, proving that a person's true character and inner courage may not be apparent at first glance. So appearances can be deceptive. Now it's time to read the poem. The Tale of Custard the Dragon by Ogden Nash. Belinda lived in a little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse, and a little yellow dog and a little red wagon, and a really or truly a little pet dragon. Now the name of the little black kitten was Ink, and the little grey mouse, she called him Blink, and the little yellow dog was sharp as mustard, but the dragon was a coward and she called him Custard. Custard the dragon had big sharp teeth and spikes on top of him and scales underneath, mouth like a fireplace chimney for a nose, and really truly daggers on his toes. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears, and Ink and Blink chased lions down the stairs. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage, but Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Belinda tickled him, she tickled him unmerciful. Ink, Blink and Mustard, they rudely called him Percival. They all sat laughing in the little red wagon at a really truly cowardly dragon. Belinda giggled till she shook the house, and Blink said "Queek," which is giggling for a mouse. Ink and Mustard rudely asked his age, when Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Suddenly they heard a nasty sound, and Mustard growled, and they all looked around. "Meow!" cried Ink, and "Oh!" cried Belinda, for there was a pirate climbing in the window. Pistol in his left hand, pistol in his right, and he held in his teeth a cutlass bright. His beard was black, one leg was wood. It was clear that the pirate meant no good. Belinda paled and she cried, "Help! Help!" But Mustard fled with a terrified yelp. Ink trickled down to the bottom of the household, and little Mouse Blink strategically mouseholed. But up jumped Custard, snorting like an engine, clashed his tail like irons in a dungeon. With a clatter and a clank and a jangling squirm, he went at the pirate like a robin at a worm. The pirate gaped at Belinda's dragon and gulped some grog from his pocket flagon. He fired 2 bullets, but they didn't hit, and Custard gobbled him every bit. Belinda embraced him, Custard licked him. No one mourned for his pirate victim. Ink and Blink in glee did curret around the dragon that ate the pirate. But presently up spoke little dog Mustard. "I'd have been twice as brave if I hadn't been flustered." And up spoke Ink and up spoke Blink. "We'd have been 3 times as brave, we think." And Custard said, "I quite agree that everybody is braver than me." Belinda still lives in her little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse, and her little yellow dog, and her little red wagon, and her really truly little pet dragon. Belinda is as brave as a barrel full of bears, and Ink and Blink chase lions down the stairs. Mustard is as brave as a tiger in a rage, but Custard keeps crying for a nice safe cage. Now let's go with the explanation. The Tale of Custard the Dragon by Ogden Nash. Belinda lived in a little white house with a little black kitten and a little grey mouse, and a little yellow dog, and a little red wagon, and a really truly little pet dragon. Now this is where Belinda lived with her pets. What all? She had a little black kitten and a little grey mouse. So the name of the little black kitten was Ink. The name of the little grey mouse was Blink. And there was a yellow dog whose name was Mustard. And then there was a little red wagon, and a really truly another is a pet dragon. So she lived with her 4 pets: a dragon, a kitten, a grey mouse, and a dog. Now this name of the little black kitten was Ink, and the little grey mouse, she called him Blink, and the little yellow dog was sharp as mustard, but the dragon was a coward and she called him Custard. Now here the name of the kitten is Ink, the name of the grey mouse is Blink, and there's a dog who is as sharp as mustard. It's an idiom which means to be very brave or enthusiastic or eager about something. So she had a dog, Mustard, and he was very excited one. Then there was a dragon, and the name of the dragon was Custard, and he is claimed to be a coward or one who gets scared easily, a fearful one. Now Custard the dragon had big sharp teeth and spikes on top of him and scales underneath, mouth like a fireplace chimney for a nose, and really or truly or daggers on his toes. Now this is the imagery, an example of imagery. Here when we read, we can find the definition of Custard, what kind of an animal it is, how does he look. Custard had big sharp teeth, spikes on top of him, scales underneath, and mouth like a fireplace. Chimney for a nose. So smoke comes out of his nose and he could blow fire with his mouth. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. Barrel full of bears is not exactly an idiom but a simile, which means that Belinda was very brave. And Ink and Blink chased lions down the stairs. Mustard was as brave as a tiger in a rage, but Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Now here it is said that this Belinda was as brave as barrel full of bears, which means she is very brave and fearless. And Ink and Blink are so brave that they can chase lions down the stairs. Now Mustard was as brave as a tiger. Mustard was as brave as a tiger when it's angry. But Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Now this dragon is crying for a cage. So he is so scared that he wants to stay protected. Now if we see here, it's given about the bravery of the animals or the pets of Belinda. Belinda tickled him, she tickled him unmerciful. Ink, Blink and Mustard, they rudely called him Percival. They all sat laughing in the little red wagon at the really truly cowardly dragon. Now all of them stayed together, so they stood there, they laughed there, enjoyed there, and they were making fun of or teasing whom? Teasing the dragon, teasing Custard, who claimed to be very scared of things. Now Belinda tickled him, and Ink, Blink, Mustard, they called him Percival. Now Percival is a knight with King Arthur, and he is said to be a coward. So they compare this Custard with that of Percival. Belinda giggled till she shook the house, and Blink and said weak, which is giggling for a mouse. Ink and Mustard rudely asked his age when Custard cried for a nice safe cage. Here also they are teasing Custard. Belinda laughed as if she shook the house. This is an example of exaggeration, hyperbole. How can Belinda shake the house? But it is said that means she laughed terribly, very loudly. And Blink said weak. Weak is, they are also laughing. Weak is the sound. It's an example of onomatopoeia, and this weak means when the mouse giggles, he produces a sound which is weak. Ink and Mustard, they asked his age, so they used to tease Custard. Oh, how old are you? Oh, you're so scared. Are you a little child? So this way they used to make fun of Custard. Suddenly they heard a nasty sound, and Mustard growled, and they all looked around. Meow, cried Ink, and oh, cried Belinda, for there was a pirate climbing in the window. So here, suddenly when they were making fun of Custard, the dragon, they were teasing, they were laughing, enjoying. Suddenly they heard a sound, and Mustard, it's a dog. Dogs can sense danger very faster than others. So Mustard growled. He made that noise, began to growl, and they looked all around. So all of them turned to see what it is. Now meow. Oh, Belinda cried, oh, and meow is the Ink. That is the who is Ink? Ink is the black kitten. They made sound. They are all scared, for they saw someone. What did they see? There's a pirate. Okay, pirate is the people who rob at sea ones. So that is a pirate. Pistol in his left hand, pistol in his right, and he held in his teeth a cutlass bright. His beard was sharp, with one leg was wood. It was clear that the pirate meant no good. So there was a pirate, and the imagery is given. That is, when you read, you can imagine what the pirate looked like. Pirate, the people who rob at sea. So here it entered the house of Belinda, and then there is a pistol in it. So both hands he has pistol, and he has cutlass, like a small knife held in his teeth. And he had black beard, and he had a wooden leg. It was clear the pirate meant no good. Obviously, if a pirate is there, if a robber is there, he doesn't want good of you. He came there to rob. Belinda paled, and she cried, help, help! But Mustard fled with a terrified yelp. Ink trickled down to the bottom of the household, and little mouse Blink strategically mouseholed. So everybody hid. All the pets, they went to hide. Belinda, she cried. So her face became suddenly white, and she cried, oh, help! But Mustard the dog, It went away. It ran away shouting. And Ink, what did the black kitten do? The black kitten, it ran to the bottom of the household to hide. And little mouse, it went into the mouse hole. This household, actually mouse hole, the poet has used the device of poetic license just to have a rhyme with household. So all of them began to hide. They ran out of sight. But up jumped Custard, snorting like an engine, clashed his tail like irons in a dungeon. With a clatter and a clank and a jangling squirm, he went at the pirate like a robin at a worm. So, Custard, who always cried for a cage, who is believed to be a coward, he came forward and he began to produce sound as if it's an engine. Began to beat its tail and take out smoke and all, clatter like it is it's an irons in a dungeon, like a engine. It made sounds, and there was clatter, clank. See, onomatopoeia is used. The sounds clatter, clank, the jangling squirm, and he went at the pirate like a robin. So simile. He ran at the pirate as if it's a bird which ran towards a worm to eat. So he ran at the pirate like a robin at a worm. The pirate gaped at Belinda's dragon. The pirate, he just looked at it with mouth open. He is shocked and gulped some grog from his pocket flagon. So he took out a bottle from his pocket and took some alcohol. He fired 2 bullets, but they didn't hit. Custard gobbled him every bit. So he tried to fire bullets, but they didn't hit, and Custard ate him up completely. Ate him fast, that is gobbled. Belinda embraced him, Mustard licked him, no one mourned for his pirate victim. Ink and Blink in glee did gyre around the dragon that ate the pirate. Now they all came out of their hiding places. Now Belinda, she embraced, she hugged the dragon. Mustard, the dog, began to lick him because it began out of love, praise, and nobody cried for the pirate. Ink, Blink, the kitten and the mouse, they all began to spin round Custard happily. But presently up spoke little dog Mustard. But after some time suddenly Mustard spoke. The dog, what did he say? I had been twice as brave, and if I hadn't been flustered, so I became nervous. That is why I ran away. Otherwise, I'd be 2 times as brave as Custard. And up spoke Ink and up spoke Blink. Now the kitten and the mouse, they also started. What did they say? We would have been 3 times as brave, we think. So, Mustard twice, we would have been 3 times brave. And Custard said, Custard very humbly said, yes, I know you are braver than me. I know you were nervous, you were confused. Otherwise, you would have killed the pirate. Belinda still lives in her little white house with her little black kitten and little grey mouse and her little yellow dog and her little red wagon and her realio trulio little pet dragon. So Belinda still lives in that house, little white house, with the mouse, with the kitten, with the dog and the dragon. They lived happily there. Belinda is as brave as barrel full of bears, and Ink and Blink chase lions down the stairs. Mustard is as brave as a tiger in a rage, but Custard keeps crying for a nice safe cage. So at the end of the poem we see Belinda is again compared to a barrel full of bears. So she is very brave, and Ink, Blink, they all are again brave. They chase lions down the stairs. So they are so brave that they can chase lions down the stairs. You have repetition in the poem. And you have Mustard as brave as Mustard is as brave as a tiger in a rage. And Custard, that Custard, it still cries for nice safe cage. So it still behaves like a coward and is very humble, and he wants to stay in a cage. This is all about the poem. So it's a ballad where you have a song and there's a story to it. Now if we go for the rhyming scheme, you see house rhymes with mouse. So A, then wagon with dragon, so it is B. We have this, the things follow. Except if you go for the last stanza, you find it bears go with stairs, rage with K. So A, B, you find there. First stanza completes. Wherever there are 4 lines we get it, except for Which you see in stanza 13, the rhyming scheme is AABBCC, mustard, flustered. So AA, blink with thing, BB, agree and me. So CC. Except for that, all other stanzas they follow throughout the poem AABB. So this is all about Tale of Custard the Dragon, where it is shown that appearances are deceptive. Custard, the dragon, is always portrayed to be a coward. Everyone teases them, but ultimately it is who stands out, and it protects Belinda, showing that he is the most courageous among all other animals present. And also, a book should not be judged by its cover. Though it cries for a cage, it behaves like a coward. Still, he is very brave. This is all about the poem. Let's see some of the word meanings. Belinda, the female character in the poem who lives with several pets. Kitten, small young cat or young ones of a cat, and in this poem it is Belinda's pet named Ink. So mouse is a small rodent. In the context or in the poem you have Belinda's grey pet and the name is Blink. Wagon, a cart or four-wheeled toy used by Belinda. Really or truly, an expression indicating genuineness and truthfulness. That is really and truly. Dragon, a mythical fire-breathing creature, Belinda's pet, and the name is Custard. So the name of the kitten is Ink, the name of the mouse is Blink, and the name of the custard or the dragon is Custard. Ink is black kitten, Blink, Belinda's grey mouse. Mustard is the name of Belinda's brave yellow dog. Coward, lacking courage, describes Custard nature in the poem. Custard, name of Belinda's timid dragon. Spikes, pointed features on top of Custard. Scales, hard protective layers on Custard's body. Fireplace, describing Custard wide mouth. Chimney refers to Custard's tall nose. Daggers means sharp pointed features on Custard's feet. So in the poem it is the sharp pointed features on Custard's feet. Otherwise dagger means a short knife with a pointed and edged blade used as a weapon. So a short knife, or it's a kind of a sword shape. Barrel, cylindrical shape, indicating Belinda's bravery. Lions, symbol of bravery, chased by Ink and Blink. Rage, extreme anger, here indicating Mustard's bravery. And then tickled, which is to make someone laugh or tease. Unmerciful, without pity or relentless. Rudely, impolitely or disrespectfully. Percival is mocking name for Custard, and Percival is he's one of the knights of King Arthur's famous round table. Then we have here giggled, which means to laugh lightly or chuckle. Shook is to move violently or tremble. Weak, mouse laugh, Blink's giggle. In the poem, it's a sound, weak. And then suddenly is unexpectedly or abruptly. Nasty, unpleasant, disturbing. Growled, low sound of anger or to grumble. Nyang. Cat's painful cry. Here it is Ink's exclamation in the poem. Pistol is handgun or firearm. Cutlass is a short sword or a blade. Wood in the poem is reference to the pirate's leg or wooden limb. Paled, become pale or lose color or lost color, faded. Yelp is short cry or sharp scream. Trickled is to move slowly or seeped. Strategically is wisely, cleverly or in a plant. Mousehold, hid in a hole, took shelter. Here it is mousehold in the poem it is to rhyme with household. So the poet has taken the help of poetic license feature. Engine is machine, here it indicates dragons or the Custard's fury or anger. Dungeon, dark prison, underground cell. Clatter, loud noise or rattle. Robin, Small bird, indication of aggression. Grog is alcoholic drink or pirate's beverage. Flagon is container for liquids, a small bottle. Gobbled, swallowed quickly or consumed. Embraced, hugged or held close. Mourned, felt sorrow or grieved. Glee, joy or happiness. Gyre, spin around, dances in circles. Flustered is agitated or nervous. Agree, to accept or concur. Victim is affected person or target. Pirate is sea robber or outlaw. It's time to go through some of the literary devices found in the poem. Now this poem is a ballad. A ballad is a narrative poem or song set to music that tells a story through simple language and follows a specific structure, usually a 4-line stanza or quatrain with a rhyming scheme of A, B, C, B. So this is a ballad. It's a poem song that tells a story. The Tale of Custard the Dragon is considered a ballad because it's a story told in verse with a regular rhyme scheme, a surprising ending and a light-hearted tone, even though it contains elements of a fable. Now fable is a story where animals act as characters. So it's a ballad, a song that tells a story. The rhyming scheme that the poem follows is AA, BB, CC, DD, EE, FF. Simile, it is used by the poet to draw a clear comparison between two or more things or people with the help of words like and as. For example, mouth like a fireplace. See, mouth is compared to that of a fireplace. Belinda was as brave as a barrel full of bears. And he went at the pirate like a robin at a worm. So, tail clasped like chains in a dungeon. So, these are a few examples of simile used. Comparison using the word like or as. Metaphor is same comparison, but here you compare without using the word like or as. For example, chimney for a nose. We did not write chimney like a nose, but it is chimney for a nose. Really or truly or daggers on his toes. It is not that the nails are like dragon, no, but it is daggers on his toes. That is an example of metaphor. This is the example of metaphor. We have other poetic devices like repetition. It is the strategic reiteration or repetition of words, phrases, lines or stanzas to create rhythm, musicality, emphasis, clarity and emotional depth. For example, the frequent use of the word little and the phrase really or truly or to emphasize and introduce the characters and the repetition of phrases like as brave as to create irony. So these are all repeated things in the stanzas. It's repeated a number of times, a word or a phrase. Onomatopoeia, it is used to describe sounds produced with the help of words. For example, hiss, bang, splash, pitter patter, rustling, rumbling. In this poem, you have the words like weak, which mimics the sound of cat's giggle, then meow for a cat, and then other words like clatter, clank, jangling. Next, we have poetic license. It's the writer's freedom to break rules of grammar, syntax, and diction in order to create a desired effect. In this poem, we have, for example, really or truly, little pet dragon. Now, really or truly is actually really truly. So, instead of writing really truly, the poet could have written really or truly, but he wrote this to maintain the rhythm. Now, instead of window, he used the word winda to rhyme it with Belinda. Then mousehold to rhyme it with household. The other example is of poetic license in the same poem, How to Tell Wild Animals, the lep and lap instead of leap. So that is also when he plays with the spelling to maintain the rhyming pattern. So this is poetic license used in the poem. We have alliteration in the poem. The repetition of same consonant sound is used in the beginning of closely placed words. For example, in the lines b sound is repeated when we see Belinda is as brave as a barrel full of bears. See, the beginning letter is repeated, the b sound. Again we have the L sound in the line Belinda lived in a little white house. See the L sound. And he held in his teeth a cutlass bright. H sound is repeated. With a clatter and a clank and a jangling squirm, see, the C sound gets repeated. And gulped some grog from his pocket flagon, the G sound gets repeated. So all these sounds are taken from the first letter of the word. Now we have personification. Here it is used to give the dragon and other pets like Ink the kitten, Blink the mouse, and Mustard the dog human-like characteristics. So where inanimate objects are given human characteristics, making them relatable characters despite being non-human. For example, the dragon, the Custard, though appearing cowardly, is given human trait of wanting a nice safe cage. Similarly, other animals can speak and tease, and the other things are portrayed. For example, they speak, they tease, they tickle. So all these things mentioned are personification example. Allusion, indirect reference to a person, a famous person, place, thing or idea. For example, in the poem, the characters make fun of Custard by calling him Percival. Now Percival is a character. Percival is one of the knights in the one of King Arthur's knights, who was known for running away due to lack of courage. Thus the characters call Custard Percival because they consider him a coward. Easier to understand allusion is when in the poem How to Tell Wild Animals, there is a reference to Asian lion, Bengal tiger. So these are when there is a reference to a famous place, person, thing or idea. Here it is Custard is compared to or is considered to be Percival. Anaphora, it involves the repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of successive clauses. For example, in the sentences you have in the lines, and a little yellow dog and a little red wagon and a really or truly a little pet dragon. See the and, this word gets repeated in the beginning. So this is an example of anaphora. Anaphora. We have refrain. It is a literary device where a word, phrase, line or even a whole stanza is repeated at regular intervals in a poem or song, often at the end of each stanza. For example, and a really or truly a little pet dragon. The exact line is repeated in the stanzas. So this is not one word but the whole line gets repeated. Again, but Custard cried for a nice safe cage. This line is also repeated. It's very easy to understand refrain. For example, in every song you have one or two lines which gets repeated in the whole song and the lines are the same. So that is refrain. Oxymoron is highlighting the poem's contrast between Custard's fierce appearance and his timid nature. That is, opposite things are juxtaposition together. Like pet dragon, a phrase that describes or combines the dragon's nature, the dangerous nature of a dragon, with the domesticity of a pet. Dragon is obviously a dangerous animal and pet is domestic. So these two opposite things are used together. Imagery, the tale of Custard the dragon uses vivid, contrasting imagery to depict the seemingly ferocious but cowardly dragon, contrasting his big, sharp teeth and scales with the desire for a nice, safe cage. As you read, you can imagine the thing to be in front of you. A dragon with big, sharp teeth, scales. Similarly, when it is given about the pirate, that is with two bullets, a cutlass, wooden leg. So this creates a sense of impending danger, which is then ironically subdued by timid Custard. So these two things are mentioned clearly, or when you read it, you have a perfect image of the things, that is imagery. Hyperbole is a literary device where a writer uses extreme exaggeration for emphasis or dramatic effect. It's a form of figurative language not meant to be taken literally and is used to highlight a point, evoke strong feelings or create humor. For example, Belinda giggled so hard she shook the house. Mustard being brave enough to chase lions down the stairs. Can Belinda literally shake the house? No. but it is said so to exaggerate something. For example, if I say, I am so hungry that I can eat an elephant. Can I eat an elephant? Impossible. But that is to exaggerate how hungry I am, or to lay stress and talk highly of. Similarly, Mustard, can a dog chase lions? Impossible. But in the poem it's given that Mustard is as brave as to chase lions down the stairs. So these are a few poetic devices that we come across in the poem The Tale of Custard the Dragon. For any doubts, use the comment section. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share.